All right, so I am seeing a massive shift in the online fitness coaching space right now, and I want to shoot a quick video about what is going on. If you want to sign clients in 2026, this is going to be a really important conversation. And so what I'm seeing right now is more coaches than ever before are hitting me up and telling me that they are struggling to actually get anyone to book in sales calls with them, struggling to get people to actually sign up to their program. It feels like, hey, there's people there, but for some reason, it's like the old things they were doing are just not working anymore. People are not as interested as they once were. Again, it's a struggle to actually get people to book in calls. I'm going to talk about what is actually happening from my perspective so that you can have an understanding of what you need to be doing in 2026. So, by the way, if you're brand new here, my name is Tell. I'm the owner of Content and Clients. I got started all the way back in 2016 as an online fitness coach myself. So I've been at this for the last 9 or 10 years. For the last 5 years specifically, I've been helping other online fitness coaches grow and scale their businesses. And so everything I give you is just from my own personal experience of growing online coaching businesses myself, and then also just, like I said, having helped so many people over the last 5 years. Now, today's conversation is important because this is not just happening, by the way, to like the newer coaches or people that aren't really good at this whole like online coaching game. This is happening across the board. I'm having coaches hit me up that are hitting 10, 15, 20, even 30K months. They're saying, yo, I'm like struggling to even get people to book in calls with me, right? This is like a problem across the board. And so we have to kind of understand like what's actually been happening. Let me drag this out of the way here. We have to kind of explain, I want to explain to you just briefly, if you can understand this graph, you will crush in 2026. All right, so I've drawn out this really simple XY graph. Over here on the left, we have low demands. Over here on the right, we have high demands. Up here, we have stuff that is super common. Down here at the bottom, we have something that is unique. All right, so this is going to be a really important conversation. So in the past, basically what you had to do to sign up a client was you could just sell like a 12-week, maybe it was like a 16-week, right? It's like a 12 or 16-week program. It came with a fitness plan. It came with macros or, just some sort of like, nutritional guidance or whatever. And then there was like coaching / accountability, right? It was a classic like 3-pillar offer. You just like got people on a call and then you would sell this thing for anywhere from like, you'd see people selling this as low as $9.97 all the way up to $2K. Some people even pushing, like $3K prices or so, like with a classic offer like this, right? So typically it's somewhere around like $500 a month. Then on the back end, you downsell to like $300 a month for continuity to continue working with you. And so what has kind of happened over the last several years is, when you grew something like this, or when this was like your offer, this is what you were selling, the big thing that you really leaned in on was you just were actually a good coach. So if you were actually a good coach and you had phenomenal before and afters, and you had all these different screenshots of like clients being like, yo, look at all these wins, like this is amazing, this is cool, like you would crush with this. You would stand out. You became known. You grew a reputation as that coach of like, hey, this person actually gets people results. And what is happening now in 2025, going into 2026, it's October 27th as I'm recording this of 2025, so 2026 is right around the corner. What is happening is this offer specifically is just no longer working. The reason it's not working is because there are so many coaches that are actually good at what they do. All right, there's lots of good coaches in the market who have gotten people results, right? Before, like you actually stood out if you were a coach that got people results. If you had these awesome before and afters, you had all these screenshots, you had all these clients, like, whoa, they're amazing, they're so good, but like everybody's gotten really good client results. And so that no longer makes you stand out as unique and different. There's actually good coaches in the industry, right? It's so common in the online space to just like trash all the other coaches. Like, oh, there's just a bunch of bad coaches. And, there's definitely bad coaches that are giving people a bad name and kind of, destroying the reputation of the industry, no doubt. But in general, I genuinely believe there are lots of good coaches out there. And so just being a good coach is not something that is uncommon anymore. Now we're going to take a little bit of a little bit of a rabbit trail. I actually want to talk through all 4 quadrants here so you can actually understand. I'm seeing coaches that are caught in all 4 of these quadrants. And it's actually only the coaches down here that are selling something that is unique and something that has high demand that are going to excel in 2026. And so we're going to talk about how to actually create something that's high demand, that's highly unique. All right. But I want to talk to you about these 4 different quadrants so you can maybe have a better understanding and grasp what's going on. So you have lots of people that they're selling something that has high demand, right? So high demands being like they're selling like a classic, 12-week fat loss program, or some sort of like healthy, holistic, lose, bloat, fit back in the dress, right? They're selling something that there's lots of high demands. Then they package it up into this like really basic common offer that lots of other people are pushing. And it's just like bada bang, bada boom. The last 4 or 5 years, this crushed and absolutely worked. Now what I'm seeing is, again, this is not working as well. If I would even go as far as to say that it's quite literally like stopping working. All right. Like this is the majority of people that are coming to me right now. They're like at 20 and 30K months that are not booking any calls. This is where they're at. They're like, I've had this thing. It's been banging on. It's been signing clients. I've been doing super well, but it's just literally not working. So then people start to go, okay, well, people are not purchasing, which means something's going to have to change. Right. And so then what they start to do is they start to mess around with their offer. Unfortunately, what starts to happen is people start to go the wrong way and they start to try to sell something that has low demand. Right. And so what I mean by that is people will start to get really fancy with things and they'll start to go, like a big piece of what I do is like, there's all this like mindset and like there's all this like life stuff that's happening, and lots of people right now are using like the religion, spirituality sort of like angle inside of their content and their marketing. And so they're trying to sell people on like this big philosophical life, religious, spiritual view of like what is happening inside the program. And unfortunately, what ends up happening is they create a program, and they create an offer over here where there's just low demand, right? There's low demand, meaning like nobody wakes up and just thinks like, oh, like I need some help with my mindset. Although mindset is a huge piece, and as coaches, like we understand like mindset is a big piece that people need help with. Nobody just like wakes up and thinks like, oh, like the issue to all my problems in the world is like mindset, right? That's like not the thing that people actually want. Or people will come over here and they'll go into like all of these like really like high tech, high technical term, like very high sophisticated, getting really deep into all these like hormone things of like, if you fix these specific hormones, it's going to do all this stuff and it's going to be amazing, but it just goes completely over people's head. Again, it's something that is just like, it's low demand. Actually, I would put this down here. We'll get this in a second. This ends up being something that's like this high technical approach ends up being something that is unique, because not a lot of coaches have like this like further education where they like understand like hormones and all this like great, depth and all this like big detail. So they try to create these like highly technical programs because yes, it's unique. It's something that's different. It's not just the basic generic like 12-week program, but it's not something, again, it's so technical that it's not anything that there's a lot of demands around. Because like, again, like, some lady that's like over 45 is not like waking up thinking about like all these like crazy hormones and stuff that's going wrong with her body. She just knows she's waking up and she like doesn't weigh the weight that she wants to. Or like for guys, like they're not waking up and thinking about, that it might be their thyroid. And so you'll see all these coaches go super deep into like thyroid and testosterone and all these things. And so it's like these highly technical offers that, again, low demand. It's unique. There's not a lot of coaches out there that are pushing those types of things because not a lot of people have that level of education, but it's unique, but there's low demand. Again, a lot of people don't actually want it. So again, what's happening is people will begin to mess with their offer. They'll either go out and get more certifications and they'll start to try to sell this like very technical, high level programs. Again, it's not working. Or they start to include all of this like just stuff that nobody's really even asking for, just in an attempt to create something that is unique and different. And it's leading all back to the same place where coaches are just really struggling to sell any sort of fitness coaching right now. So let me erase some of this stuff and clean up this clutter. So what is actually working? What is actually working right now is creating offers, creating programs, it's creating content, it's creating sales assets and things that are unique and different, but also still have high demand. All right, this is the sweet spot of what we're looking for. And I'm gonna explain to you like why we have to create offers and marketing and content that are unique and different in 2026 and why we have to create something that's high demand. And I'm also going to kind of walk you through maybe how to begin thinking about some of this stuff and how to like actually do it for yourself, right? So creating something that's unique and different. This is basically the only thing that matters right now. I call this creating a unique philosophy. I also call this having big ideas. And I'm going to break down exactly what that means and what I mean when I'm saying these two things. These are the two most important things that matter right now in 2025 going into 2026. You have to have a unique philosophy. You have to have big ideas. You have to have things that now stand out. Again, in the past, if you are just a good coach and you got people good results and you had amazing before and afters, all you had to do was just sell like a basic, like, cool, check it out. I've got this program. It's $1,500. It's $500 a month for 12 weeks. I'll get you your workouts. I'll get you your macros. I'm going to check in with you. We're going to get on a call once a month. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. People would spend $2,000 like it was nothing for a 16-week program, or they pay $1,500 like it was nothing for a 12-week program. $500 a month was not difficult to sell back then if you were a good coach. What is happening now again, though, is there's lots of good coaches. There genuinely are. Again, I see so many coaches that are talking about how everybody's just so bad in the industry, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, it's just literally not true. There are so many good coaches, and that's a good thing, right? So the way that we have to differentiate ourselves here inside of 2026 is we have to begin thinking about how are we actually unique and different. We have to begin creating, another thing I would even add on here is we have to begin creating our own frameworks. We have to begin creating our own unique worldviews. We have to begin actually distilling down what it is we do into our own unique philosophy and actually explaining to people how we are unique and different. People right now are not just signing up to the generic thing. So I say this a lot of times. I'll just show you like a kind of a silly example. Back here on my bookshelf, all right? So right here, like I have like the starting strength, textbook, right? And I also have a bunch of Louis Simmons textbooks back there, right? About the West Side Conjugate System. These are unique philosophies. And inside of these unique philosophies, there are so many different big ideas. There's so many different ways. Like, so for instance, if you train under Louis Simmons, you use the conjugate method, one of his big ideas is that like you need to always be like changing your workouts, that you're never actually adapting to the workouts. That's one of his big ideas. It's a big idea that fits into this larger overall unique philosophy. And All of these things have different frameworks and visuals. For instance, like one of Louis Simmons' things is he always talked about that you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? These are big ideas. These are frameworks. These are philosophical like worldviews that fit into this much larger system that he had ironed out as the West Side Conjugate training system. And this was his unique philosophy, right? We see this across the board with so many different coaches. Mark Rippetoe, right? Creates starting strength. And inside of this, there's so many different big ideas about barbell training and the way to actually do it. And the thing is that as you go from Mark Rippetoe to Louis Simmons to all these other different fitness coaches and strength coaches, you will see that everybody actually does have a unique way of doing things, right? We've all had a different interest. We've all had different things that we've researched. Like you right now have a unique way of doing things, whether you realize it or not. Maybe you think that people should count macros. Maybe you think, hey, people should not count macros. Maybe you think people should use meal plans, right? We all have different worldviews and different ways that we do things. The issue is that when we're selling one of these basic generic 12-week programs, people don't actually get insight into what our unique ideas are, what our big ideas, our unique philosophy. They don't get insight into our frameworks because we didn't actually ever need them back then. You just sold the fitness program, the macros, the 24/7 check-ins, and that again was good enough. And so what is working right now in 2025 and 2026? It's this. It's creating something that is unique. It's actually taking time to sit down and iron out what is it that you believe. Like how is the actual best way for your specific ideal client to get the kind of results that they want? Now, again, the issue is that so many coaches, when they try to create something unique, is they leave selling something where there's high demand and they start to try to invent their own way. And so maybe they'll start solving the problem of like, hey, we're going to fix your hormones. But the issue is that people are not looking to fix their hormones. Like what people are looking to do, like a high demand offer, is people are still looking to lose fat. And so an example of like a high performing unique offer would be like, for instance, my wife. My wife has a program where she helps ladies lose up to 24 pounds in 16 weeks. This is an example of high demand. The way she does it, however, is with her method. All right, the her method. So as in like her method. And so the her method is something that is unique and different. It's not just a 12-week program with macros and 24/7 check-ins. It's the her method. And then the her method breaks down into all of these unique different frameworks and ways that she actually coaches people. With nutrition, we teach people it's not just, hey, here's macros or hey, here's a meal plan. It's the 1-2-1 method, right? So it's the 1-2-1 method. And this is an example of how she is actually helping people with their health and nutrition. I'm not going to break it all down for you because I don't want anybody to plagiarize and copy this stuff. But this is just an example, right? This is what is winning right now for coaches in 2026. People are no longer just seeing client results. They're no longer just seeing it before and after. They're no longer just seeing screenshots from your clients going, oh, that's amazing, like sign me up. What people are doing is, number one, they still want the end result. You can't get away from, we can't be selling things that have low demand. We can't try to just like reinvent something and say, oh, everybody should want this. People still want basic things. They want to eliminate bloat. They want to lose 24 pounds. They want to build muscle, right? Like people still want the basic thing. But what we have to do is we have to sell them now a unique solution, something they've not done before, something that is new, better, different than everything else they've tried in the past. And so the way that you want to think about this is you have to really begin breaking down and defining exactly what it is you do. And we have to begin, first of all, we have to create a whole, we have to create like a complete philosophy. So we have to actually compile all this stuff and understand what happens, when does it get done, how do we actually deliver this stuff to people, like what is it that we actually do for people. Then we have to brand it, we have to name it, something that stands out, something that shows that we're doing something unique, something that also fits into the overall larger brands that our company and our business is building. And then we have something that is standing out that's high demand and something that's unique and different. So said differently, if you can just take away this kind of like summary to this entire little rant as I wrap this up, is right now, people are no longer just going to be wowed by just kind of flashing some stuff at them and saying, awesome, well, here's results, swipe your credit card here and join up. People want to know specifically how you are going to help them. They want to see the ins and outs of the way your brain works. They want to see the different frameworks and visuals that you're actually going to teach them. So like the 1-2-1 method right here, this has its own framework. There's like an actual literal visual framework of how we teach the 1-2-1 method. So not only is the 1-2-1 method a big idea that actually has a legitimate thought process behind it and actually gets people results, but there's also like a visual framework that we have drawn out for people and created so that they can see it and understand what this actually looks like. This is what people are looking for in 2026. They want to understand specifically in great detail how you are actually going to get them results. It's no longer just about can you get me results, it's how are you going to get me results. They want to know things like you getting on a sales call and being like, cool, man, so to lose the 24 pounds we talked about, the very first thing that we're going to do is what I call the busy man's workout system. Now with the busy man's workout system, what we actually do is we are going to do a time study for the first 2 weeks of the program. We're actually going to figure out, what does your normal day-to-day schedule look like? As a busy business owner, you don't have all of this time to be going to the gym 2 hours a day, 6 days a week. And so we're actually just going to do a time study. We're going to track this with all of your wearables and your Apple Watch, and we're going to figure out exactly, what days are high stress days, what days seem to be days that are a little bit lower impact, and we are going to custom build the perfect workout split to your actual day-to-day routines, when you have the most energy, when things are going to be the most impactful, how we can actually set you up for success in a way where you don't fall off. And then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to import all of this data into a spreadsheet, and we're actually going to apply the 4-2-1 method, right? I'm just like kind of making this up as I go along. We're going to apply the 4-2-1 method for your nutritional approach. So what the 4-2-1 method is according to a given day and the amount of stress that you're going to have at work, and also what the actual workout for the day is going to be, we are going to custom adjust your macros and your calories to fit the actual day. And so if there's a day where hey, we know it's deadlifts, we also know it's a busy day at work, we're going to make sure that you are in a little bit more of a caloric surplus so that you don't feel tired and drained throughout the day. And then if there's a day where we know it's more of a lower impact day, that's actually going to be the diet day. And so we're going to hammer it hard. We're going to put you in a huge deficit that day so that we can actually burn the fat faster. And so the approach is going to be, we're going to have 4 days where we're basically going to be at maintenance or a slight caloric deficit. Then we're going to have 2 days out of the week where we have a big caloric deficit, where we diet fast, diet hard, and actually lose all the weight. And then we're going to have 1 day where we just don't do anything at all. So again, all of this stuff is going to be custom built to you according to your time study, according to your wearables and what they're saying about your rest and recovery. And again, I'm just going on, I'm literally just making that up, by the way. I didn't even know if that's a good offer, if that would even work. But my point being is, this is what people want to see. Right? People are no longer just swayed by, this person has a screenshot from a text of a client that's being, that's it's amazing, it's great. They want to understand that the substance behind, what are you actually going to do? They want to see the ins and outs of how you're actually going to get them results, so they can decide if that's going to lead to a life that they would enjoy, if that's going to lead to them getting the type of results in the way that they actually want. And so there's really good news if you are a great coach. If you're a coach who understands in and out how to actually get people results, if you're a coach that understands specifically what you do and why you do these things, you're going to be in an amazing spot to do very, very well over the next 12 to 18 months. We just need to package this thing up into a unique philosophy. We need to create an entire framework. Again, think textbook terms. We need to create a framework and a unique philosophy. We need to break that philosophy down into its different components and big ideas. What are the smaller ideas, or bigger ideas rather, but what's the smaller ideas, the small pieces to the whole, right? So the unique philosophy. And then can we create visuals and frameworks and analogies for each and every single one of those big ideas, so that we create something that is genuinely, truly unique to you and you alone. And then our goal, or the only thing that we have to do then moving forward, is sell people on our ideas. And so client results are not working like they used to. Just basic case studies and hey, look, I'm a good coach isn't working. Selling just a basic, common 12-week macros kind of program for $997, it's just not going to work. It's the coaches who are backed with real substance and thought inside of their actual coaching frameworks that are going to crush if they take time to do this specific work, packaging things up and understanding what they do and how they do it. So hopefully this is useful. Hopefully it's helpful. I'm going to cut this one off here. Big issue that I'm seeing right now across the industry. Like I said, this is not just affecting smaller coaches. This is not just affecting newer coaches. This is affecting everyone as a whole. And this is, from my perspective, this is the solution that I'm seeing, that the coaches that are actually standing out right now. They're selling something that's high demand, and they're also selling something that's unique. So with that being said, I'm going to cut this one off here, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.